They said she was just the pretty face with a powerful voice, the R&B darling who rose from the gutter to grace the stage at the BET Awards. But what they didn't see coming was the raid that would change her entire career in a single night. While Justina Skye was on stage delivering the performance of her life in front of millions, back home in South LA, LAPD stormed her house like they were raiding a cartel, guns drawn, doors kicked in, and her younger sister screaming for help. But the worst part? Justina wasn't even there. Instead of chasing actual suspects or investigating the burglary that triggered the call, LAPD flipped the script, slapped felony possession charges on Justina after finding evidence in her home studio closet. Now the headlines say, Justina busted. But the real story? It's much deeper and a lot messier. Justina Skye was on top of the world. It was July 1st, 2025, and her BET Awards performance had just shut the whole damn building down. Drenched in violet stage lights, wrapped in a custom lavender bodysuit stitched by Versace, she stood tall with her mic in the air as the crowd roared. Her new single, Blind Loyalty, had hit No. 3 on the Billboard charts that week, and now everyone was saying it, R&B is back. But less than 3 hours later, that same golden girl was being booked by the LAPD handcuffed in a designer gown, heels off, eyelashes smudged, and tears silently carving down her cheeks. So what the hell happened between BET Glory and Justina Skye? Busted? Let's rewind. Earlier that day, while Justina was rehearsing her vocal runs at the BET soundcheck in downtown LA, chaos was brewing back home. Her South LA mansion, a property she bought just last year with her first real label advance, became the target of a violent home invasion around 7:48 p.m., according to the LAPD's own preliminary report. 3 masked suspects broke into her property through the back kitchen entrance. The alarm was triggered, but the men were fast. They grabbed a safe, ransacked drawers, and even snatched a necklace that belonged to Justina's late grandmother. Inside the house at the time, her 18-year-old sister Milan and her cousin Trey. Milan had just graduated from Hamilton High and was house siting for the week while Justina prepped for award season. But when the intruders entered, Milan did what any scared teen would do. She hid in the bathroom closet and called 911. By the time officers arrived, the intruders were already gone. But instead of conducting a full sweep for clues or chasing the getaway vehicle spotted by neighbors, the cops turned their focus somewhere else entirely. Justina's personal studio, space in the guest wing. And that's when things went left. Fast. From victim to suspect, according to Milan. She was still shaking when one of the officers emerged from the studio holding a black duffel bag. Inside, a glass jar containing weed, a few rolled joints, and what they later labeled as paraphernalia consistent with distribution. Now, anyone who's even peeked inside the music industry knows that's laughable. Artists keep loud in their own homes like people keep wine, especially in LA, where recreational use is legal. But because the amount in Justina's stash exceeded personal use limits, cops escalated the situation. They called in a narcotics unit, brought in a drone to scan the perimeter, and suddenly the whole vibe shifted. Instead of treating Justina's home as a crime scene, they treated it like a drug house. They got a judge on the phone, issued a last-minute search warrant, and while Milan was sobbing in the hallway, still traumatized from the break-in, the officers were opening closets, rummaging through makeup drawers, and digging into Justina's locked lyric notebooks, like they were looking for evidence of a cartel. The moment she got off stage and saw 17 missed calls from Milan, she knew something was wrong. She dipped out of the BET After party without even taking a red carpet pic and jumped into her blacked out Escalade. But it was too late. As she pulled up to her street, she saw the flashing red and blue lights, the yellow tape, and the crowd of TMZ photographers already forming. The arrest that shook the culture. "I don't even know what's going on," she shouted as officers approached her car. "This is my house. My sister just got robbed. Y'all found the guys." But that didn't matter. Not to them. "Step out of the vehicle, Ms. Sky. We have a warrant for your arrest." They didn't even let her change. Didn't let her hug Milan. They placed her under arrest for felony possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute based on a half-full duffel bag that had been in her closet for over a week. Her mugshot, disheveled, wide-eyed, still in stage makeup, hit Twitter before her legal team even got the call. Within an hour, #FreeJustina was trending. But the streets were divided. Some fans were screaming they did her dirty. Others were whispering, "Why'd she have that stuff anyway?" She knew better. But what most people didn't know was that Justina had been struggling with crippling anxiety. Her therapist had recently suggested she use weed over pills for relief. That stash wasn't for distribution. It was medicine. Her personal escape from panic attacks that had followed her since childhood. But none of that mattered in that moment. Because to the LAPD, Justina wasn't a victim. She was another black celebrity with money, a platform, and now a record. The fallout begins by sunrise. Justina was bailed out on a $36,000 bond, thanks to her longtime manager Kian and her silent investor who wired the money without hesitation. But the damage was done. Bet scrubbed her post-performance footage from their socials, pending investigation. A major campaign deal with Fenty Skin quietly paused all rollout materials. And whispers began swirling across the blogs. Is Justina Sky about to get canceled? Was the home invasion a setup? Why was there distribution-level weed at a Bet-nominated singer's house? None of those people were asking the real question: why is the victim of a home invasion the one facing jail time? Justina broke her silence 48 hours later with a single tweet: "My home was violated. My family was traumatized. I was performing when it happened, and now I'm the one facing prison. Nah, not this time. We are fighting back." #FreeJustina. It exploded. 4.2 million views in 6 hours. Retweets from SZA, Ari Lennox, even Taraji P. Henson. The world was watching. But Justina knew this wasn't just about public support. This was about proving innocence in a system that never saw her as innocent to begin with. Justina Sky didn't sleep for 36 hours. Her nails still had glitter from the Bet Awards. But the world that had cheered her hours before was now whispering about mugshots and marijuana. And what made it worse, even her own label started acting funny. Emails went cold. Her A&R's assistant ghosted. And whispers started circling. She's high risk now. But while the world gossiped, Justina went into full fight mode. She wasn't about to let some half-baked felony charge destroy everything she'd built from scratch. Enter the legal pit bull, Gloria Huntley. Justina's manager, Kian, made one call to Gloria Huntley, a no-nonsense attorney known for dragging crooked prosecutors into the dirt. She's the same one who helped clear R&B singer Leanne's star after a wrongful arrest in 2023. When Gloria walked into Justina's kitchen with a thick binder and an iPad, the energy shifted. "They've got nothing solid on you," Gloria said, flipping open arrest records. "They're treating you like a trafficker off for joints and a sealed bag of edibles. This case is weak as hell, but we gotta prove it before the media ruins your image." She paused. "Now tell me, did anyone besides you know about the stash?" In that studio room, Justina blinked. Then a cold chill slid down her spine. The setup nobody expected. Rewind 2 weeks before the Bet Awards, Justina had thrown a low-key pre-tour dinner at her place. A few producers, her stylist, backup vocalists, and a last-minute guest. Jules, a videographer she'd hired for content during tour promo. He was charming, quiet, stayed glued to his phone. Nothing about him felt off. Until now. See, during The search, police logged finding something else in her studio room. A hidden camera lens, buried inside a pencil holder, not hers. And guess who was the last person to film in that studio? Jules. What if that whole home invasion wasn't? Random Kian asked. What if someone wanted to make sure the cops saw something else in that house? And that's when Gloria began digging deeper. Surveillance footage, that changes. Everything Justina had Nest cams installed in her hallway synced to her iPad. She hadn't even reviewed the footage since the break-in. Gloria sat down with her, scrolling through hours of silent video. Then, around 7:43 p.m., they saw it. 3 masked men burst through the kitchen, clearly knowing where the blind spots were. But just 2 minutes before that, a tall man with dreads and a hoodie standing across the street, watching, holding a phone, and never flinching when the gunshots rang out. Zoom in, Gloria said. Justina's stomach dropped. It was Jules. The alleged trap, staged or coincidence? Now the theory started coming together. Jules had access. He knew Justina wasn't home. He knew where she kept her weed stash, her notebooks, her valuables because she let him film there. But Gloria raised the deeper question. Was this a robbery with a side of sabotage, or a full-blown setup to get you taken down? That headline hit Shade Room, Gossip, and Complex within 24 hours. Suddenly, the story was shifting. The Rap Game Reacts Justina's Bet Stage clip, once removed from social, came back up after fans demanded it. Her mic drop moment went viral. On TikTok again with a new caption, she was performing while they raided her house. Drake posted a cryptic IG story. We protect our queens. Period. Summer Walker commented this sh*t is wild. Can't even call the cops no more? Even Latto jumped in with, if they can do this to Justina, imagine what they do to regular black girls every day. #free Justina, but not everyone was riding for her. Some industry insiders anonymously, of course, started hinting that Justina's rise was too fast. That her success was built on industry connections, not talent. That the drama wasn't a mistake, it was karma. One blog even claimed. She had beef with her former vocal coach and accused her of pushing people out of the circle once she signed to Midnight Atlantic Records. Justina didn't respond to any of it. Not yet. She was too focused on fighting the case, digging into LAPD's intentions. Gloria's next move: force LAPD to release the full audio logs and officer body cam footage from the night of the raid. What they uncovered was damning. A cop on body cam was caught saying, "This one's big. Bet we find something spicy in the studio." Another officer is heard laughing, "I bet she's got at least 2 ounces. Let's make it worth the paper." That paper was the search warrant issued. After they arrived, not before. Gloria blasted the footage to the media. MSNBC picked it up. Roland Martin Live hosted a full segment called Celebrity Setups and the War on Black Wealth. It was no longer just a story about Justina. This was becoming a national conversation. The label breaks their silence. Finally, by week 2, the pressure got too hot for Midnight Atlantic Records to stay quiet. Their PR team issued a half-hearted statement. "We support Ms. Sky as she navigates this unfortunate legal matter. We hope for a swift resolution." Translation: they weren't going to drop her yet, but they weren't standing beside her either. Justina saw it for what it was. She'd been the golden ticket when her album Skyfallon dropped last spring. But the moment the smoke came, they backed away quietly, politely, and cowardly. Milan speaks out. Justina's little sister, Milan, had stayed mostly quiet. But after seeing her sister dragged online, she posted a video on Instagram Live. "I was the one who called the cops. Was the one scared for my life. And they showed up and treated me like I was in on it. They kept asking if we threw a party. If it was a drug house, like what? My sister is a performer. She sings. She don't trap. The live hit 2.7 M views in 10 hours. People began realizing this wasn't just about Justina Sky anymore. It was about what happens every time a young, black, successful woman dares to rise. To be continued. What's next? Lapidi under investigation for misconduct. New video surfaces showing Jules talking to a man tied to a known robbery crew. Justina drops a surprise freestyle from the studio called "They Ain't Protect Me," and it goes insane. Viral, but the biggest twist. There's something hidden in that safe the robber stole. Something Justina never told anyone about. Not even Gloria. The courtroom was ice cold. Not just in temperature, but in energy. It was August 7th, 2025, and Justina Sky's preliminary hearing had turned into a media circus. Paparazzi were parked outside the Los Angeles County Courthouse. Protesters stood with #FreeJustina signs while helicopters circled overhead. Inside. Justina sat flanked by Gloria Huntley and her assistant counsel, arms crossed, lace front laid, suit sharp, and no makeup. This wasn't about glam. It was about war, and for the first time since that BET Awards night, she looked tired. Not weak, not broken. Just tired of proving she was the victim. But the state wasn't backing down. They wanted a trial. The DA's weak case gets exposed. District Attorney, a smirking man named Trent Madison, presented their case like they had just solved the Zodiac. He claimed Justina Sky had knowingly possessed a distributable quantity of cannabis, referencing the weed found in her studio closet and the duffel bag beside it. He called an expert witness to claim the stash was more than what's typical for personal use. But Gloria? She came armed like it was Law and Order. Battle Rap Edition. "Let me remind the court," Gloria said, "that cannabis is legal in the state of California. Possession without sales or trafficking is not a felony. And my client wasn't even home during the incident." She paused, then leaned in. "Do you want to talk about what was found in that home? Because it wasn't drugs, it was trauma, bloodstains, shell casings, and a terrified teenager who thought she was going to die." The room went silent. Trent stuttered. He asked to approach the bench. Gloria smirked. "The hidden safe and the secret inside now. Remember that safe that was taken during the home invasion? It wasn't just about stolen jewelry. What people didn't know, not even Gloria, was that Justina had been keeping something inside that safe since 2022. A mini hard drive. Labeled WMB. 3 letters. No one knew what they meant. Until Keon, Justina's manager, got a call from a pawn shop in Compton. A man tried to flip a Rolex that had been in Justina's BET Awards dressing room, custom engraved. The pawn shop flagged it. Cops pulled security footage, and guess who it was? Jules. He walked in hoodie up, face half covered, and used a fake ID. But not fake enough. Because surveillance caught a clear side-angle shot. And that was all Gloria needed. Jules was now a person of interest, and Gloria had enough to file an official complaint. But what about the hard drive? Well, when the pawn shop gave the LAPD what they recovered from Jules, it included a black USB case with a silver logo still attached. To the stolen Rolex, Gloria demanded access and got it. Inside. Studio footage, private conversations, and a recording that flipped the entire case. The audio that shocked the internet. Most damning file was a 6-minute audio clip. It was a recording of Jules on the phone, whispering to someone named Trey, and what he said. Oh man. "She's gonna be on stage." Her sister was there alone. "Y'all go in quick. Don't trash everything. Just go to the side room. That's where the closet is." "What if the cops come?" the voice asked. "Let 'em. They're gonna find what they need. They're gonna find what they need." That line echoed across the internet within hours of Gloria leaking it. Blogs exploded. Twitter melted. The Shade Room posted it with the caption, "So you mean to tell us she was set up?" The fallout: arrests, apologies, and exposure within 24 hours of the audio leak. Jules was arrested in connection to the break-in. Lapped officers involved in the raid were placed on administrative leave pending misconduct. Review: GloRilla filed a civil rights lawsuit on Justina's behalf, citing violation of privacy, excessive force, and wrongful arrest. But the most surprising twist: the DA dropped all felony charges before trial. Due to new evidence, the state will no longer pursue prosecution. They didn't apologize. They didn't even look Justina in the eye. They just walked out, case dismissed. But GloRilla wasn't done. "We want everything," she said. "Every penny is damaged. Every headline is corrected. Every label who ghosted, we're naming them." Justina sat back in her chair and finally exhaled. The industry comes crawling back now that the smoke cleared. People started remembering what they'd forgotten. Justina Sky could really sing. The moment the news dropped, case streams on Blind Loyalty jumped by 640%. BET quietly put her performance back up. Fenty Skin reached back out to restart the rollout. But Justina Sky wasn't interested in any of that, at least not yet. She had something else to say first. 3 weeks after the case was dropped, Justina posted a black screen with white text, August 25th, midnight. "I got something to say." Fans went wild. What came next? A surprise one-track drop titled WMB Watch Me Bleed. The song was raw. It wasn't mixed to perfection. It wasn't radio-friendly. It was Justina, pissed off, honest, and bruised but unbroken. She rapped the first verse, "You kicked my door in, but couldn't break me, labeled me a felon 'cause I shined too greatly, took my name, tried to drag it through dirt, but baby, I was baptized in hurt." She ended it with a whisper. They did. Share this video with someone who needs to know the real truth behind those headlines. And don't forget to subscribe, because we got more raw, real, and unfiltered stories coming that the mainstream will never show you. They tried to shut her down, but she sang louder. Let's keep her voice echoing. This ain't the end. This is her era. See you in the next one.